Picture this. A guy shows up to a city that's been in ruins for 140 years. The walls are destroyed, the gates are burned, the people have given up. And he says, "We're going to rebuild this entire thing." How long do you think that would take? 5 years? 10? Try 52 days. Nehemiah rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem, a massive infrastructure project involving thousands of workers, tons of stone, multiple gates, and miles of fortifications in 52 days. Not 52 months, not 52 weeks, 52 days. Now, you might be thinking, cool, Bible story, Joe, but what does this have to do with my bank account? Everything. Because the principles Nehemiah used to accomplish something that seemed impossible in an absurdly short time frame are the exact same principles that separate people who build wealth in years from people who stay broke for decades. I'm Joe, and I've studied rapid wealth accumulation, not get-rich-quick schemes, but legitimate cases of people who went from broke to financially stable in under 5 years, and reverse engineering what they did differently. They were all following the Nehemiah blueprint, whether they knew it or not. Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 15 says, "So the wall was finished in 52 days. That's not luck. That's strategic, focused, relentless execution. And you can apply the same framework starting today. The assessment phase. Here's where most people screw up. They don't assess the situation honestly. They dive in with vague goals like, "I want to be rich," without understanding where they are. Nehemiah chapter 2 verses 11 through 15 tells us that when he arrived in Jerusalem, he didn't announce his plan immediately. He spent 3 days secretly surveying the damage at night. He inspected every broken section, examined every burned gate, and cataloged exactly what needed to be done. This is where wealth building actually begins. Before you can build wealth fast, you need your exact starting point. Not, "I think I have about $2,000 in debt." Precise numbers. You need to know your exact net worth, assets minus liabilities, your exact cash flow, income minus expenses, your exact debt amounts, interest rates, and minimum payments, your exact spending patterns for the last 90 days, and your exact skills that could generate additional income. Most people skip this because it's uncomfortable, but you can't rebuild what you won't assess. You can't build wealth on financial ignorance. The Federal Reserve's 2024 report on the economic well-being of U.S. households found that 37% of adults couldn't cover a $400 emergency with cash or its equivalent. When researchers dug deeper, many couldn't tell you their exact monthly expenses within $500. They were guessing. And when you're guessing, you're losing. The assessment phase isn't about judgment. It's about data. Nehemiah said, "Here's what's broken. Here's what needs fixing. Here's what it's going to take." Spend 3 days getting brutally honest about your finances. Write down every number, every debt, every subscription, every dollar. You can't build a wall until you know how big the gap is. The focus principle. When Nehemiah presented his plan, he didn't say, "Let's rebuild the entire city." He said, "Let's rebuild the wall." One project, one focus, one goal. Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 17 says, "Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem." Not the temple, not the houses, the wall. Everything else came later. This is the single biggest difference between people who build wealth fast and people who stay stuck forever. Most people trying to build wealth do 10 things at once: pay off debt, save for emergencies, invest, start a side hustle, buy a house, increase 401k contributions, save for kids' college. Because they're trying to do everything, they accomplish nothing. Focus is scattered, energy is diluted. After 5 years of trying, they're in the same place. A Journal of Consumer Research study found that people pursuing multiple financial goals simultaneously had a 23% lower success rate than people who pursued one goal at a time sequentially. Momentum compounds. When you focus all resources on one objective and complete it quickly, you build momentum that carries forward. Split your focus on 10 objectives, no momentum anywhere. Here's what this looks like. If you have debt, Your one focus is debt elimination. Attack it with everything: extra hours, side income, selling stuff, extreme budgeting, until it's gone. If you're debt-free but broke, your one focus is building a 6-month emergency fund, building cash reserves until you have runway to breathe. If you have an emergency fund, your one focus is increasing income by 30% in the next 18 months through negotiation, skill development, job switching, or side income. One wall, one focus. The wall got done in 52 days because every person, every resource, every hour pointed at the same objective. The organized execution. You've assessed, you've identified your focus, now comes execution, where most people collapse. Nehemiah didn't just tell everyone to rebuild the wall and hope for the best. Nehemiah chapter 3 gives detailed breakdown of who was responsible for which section. Every person had a specific assignment. No ambiguity, no overlap. You need a specific, detailed, time-bound plan, not vague aspirations, a blueprint. Most people say, I'm going to save money this year. That's a wish. A Nehemiah-level plan says, save $500 per month by cutting these 5 specific expenses. Auto-transfer to savings every payday before seeing it. Reach $6,000 saved by December 31st. Track progress every Sunday at 9 a.m. using this spreadsheet. Dr. Gail Matthews found that people who wrote down goals, created action plans, and shared weekly progress updates were 76% more likely to achieve them than people who just thought about goals. Break down the big goal into daily actions. Instead of pay off $15,000 in debt, this month, pay off $800 credit card. Next month, knock out $1,200 medical bill. Following month, tackle $2,500 personal loan. Instead of start a side hustle, week 1, choose one skill to monetize. Week 2, create profiles on 3 platforms. Week 3, send 20 pitches to potential clients. Week 4, complete first paid project. Small sections, specific assignments, daily progress. That's how walls get built. That's how wealth gets built. The opposition response. Nehemiah didn't rebuild unopposed. He had enemies: Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem, mocking him, threatening him, trying to stop the work. His response? He kept building. Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 6. So we rebuilt the wall, for the people had a mind to work. When threats intensified, Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 17, those who carried materials did their work with one hand and held a weapon in the other. They didn't stop working to fight. They built with one hand and defended with the other. You will face opposition. Opposition 1. The people around you. They'll mock your side hustle, pressure you to go out when you're saving, call you cheap or obsessed. Why? Your discipline exposes their lack of it. Response: keep building. Don't stop to argue. Just keep working. Opposition 2. Your own doubt. This is taking too long. This isn't working. I should give up. That's Sanballat in your head. Response: Nehemiah chapter 6 verse 3. I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. When enemies invited him to talk, he refused. He didn't take meetings with distractions. Opposition 3. Emergencies and setbacks. Your car breaks down. Unexpected bills hit. These aren't reasons to quit. They're tests of commitment. Response: adjust and keep building. When workers got tired, he reorganized them. When threats increased, he posted guards. But the work never stopped. Research shows people who anticipated obstacles and pre-planned responses were 3 times more likely to stay on track. Your defense plan. When people pressure you, I'm on a mission. Let's reconnect when I hit my goal. When doubt creeps in, I committed to 90 days of focused execution. I'll reassess after that. When emergencies hit, this delays me by 2 weeks, not 2 years. I'm still building. One hand on the work, one hand on the weapon. Keep building. The completion acceleration. Here's what everyone misses. The wall didn't get built in 52 days because Nehemiah worked slowly and steadily. It got built in 52 days because Nehemiah created conditions for accelerated progress. 3 strategies for acceleration. Strategy 1. Massive action in compressed time frame. Nehemiah didn't say, let's take 5 years and work comfortably. He said, we're doing this now, fast. The intensity created urgency. The deadline created focus. The compressed timeline eliminated procrastination. Apply this. Instead of, I'll pay off debt over 10 years, say, I'm paying off $10,000 in 12 months. The intensity forces you to find income sources you didn't know you had. Compressed timelines create creative solutions. Strategy 2. All resources toward one goal. Every person in Jerusalem worked on the wall. Not 50%, not 80%. Everyone. All resources pointed at the same target. Apply this. If your goal is debt-free, every extra dollar goes to debt. Every side hustle dollar, every tax refund, every bonus. No splitting resources. All in, one target until completion. Strategy 3. Public accountability. Nehemiah rallied the entire community. Everyone knew the goal. Everyone saw progress. Everyone was accountable. Apply this. Tell 3 people your specific financial goal and deadline. Text them weekly updates. Public commitment creates social pressure that discipline alone can't match. Studies show public accountability increases goal completion by up to 65%. Real example. A couple went from $78,000 in debt to debt-free in 27 months. How? They used the Nehemiah framework. Assessed everything, knew every debt, every expense, focused on one thing, debt elimination, nothing else, organized execution, sold cars, moved to cheaper place, took extra jobs, responded to opposition, ignored family criticism, stayed committed. Compressed the timeline, refused to stretch it out comfortably. They finished in 52 metaphorical days. Nehemiah chapter 6 verses 15 through 16. So the wall was completed in 52 days. When all our enemies heard about this, all the surrounding nations were afraid and lost their self-confidence because they realized that this work was done with the help of our God. The enemies didn't lose confidence because the wall was beautiful. They lost confidence because it was finished impossibly fast. When you build wealth faster than people thought possible, you don't just change your bank account, you change what people believe is possible. You become living proof that the system can be beaten, that timelines can be compressed, that focus and intensity and strategy actually work in the real world. Your wealth building doesn't have to take 30 years. It doesn't have to take 20. If you assess honestly, focus ruthlessly, execute specifically, defend constantly, and accelerate intentionally, you can accomplish in 3 to 5 years what most people never accomplish in a lifetime. That's not theory. That's the Nehemiah blueprint applied to modern finances. The question isn't whether it's possible. Nehemiah proved it's possible 2,500 years ago. The question is whether you're willing to build with the same focus, the same intensity, the same refusal to stop until the wall is complete. Are you willing to work with a tool in one hand and a weapon in the other? Are you willing to say no to distractions and yes to your one focus? 52 days, one wall, changed everything. Changed a nation, changed history. Your wall is waiting. Your 52 days start now. Start building. If this changed how you think about building wealth, hit that subscribe button. Let's compress your timeline together. I'll see you in the next one.